I call the 90s was a time where there were a lot of pull over to the side of the road songs, where you'd hear it and you just go, oh my God, that's amazing. And I don't hear those days on country radio. You know it when you hear it, like the old vinyl records and compared to CDs, or you just feel the difference and hear the difference. And Dan was saying that he had a cousin that was a doctor out in LA, and he was doing work with what's the difference between analog and digital, and that when people listen to digital, their blood pressure went up 10 points compared to vinyl. And I mean, that says a lot right there. I love what you're doing here, that you have all the analog, and like today, we were recording in digital, but then they dumped it on the analog, but the sound was so much superior to what digital was as far as the warmth and the depth of what it was. And I never had anybody really show me that. So this is something I'm gonna go back and show Garth's engineer and say, can we do that here? Because they've got the old machines, but they don't use them. With the computer, it opens up a whole new world. It's just, is it a new world you want to open up or not? You know, but there's so many ways to get what you're doing out there compared to what there was before that. And so it's just, people keep going, well, things are gonna, you know, somebody's gonna come along and really change things back to what it was. And I don't think that's possible anymore, because people are so spoiled on how easy everything is. Music's not perfect. You know, and part of it is that they want to make it perfect, and you know, you gotta have all the voices have been tuned up perfectly, the drums have to be exactly in the beat, and you know, if anything's off, we need to fix it. And you know, some of my favorite records are a little out of tune, or the beat speeds up or slows down, and that's what makes it be that magic. I grew up where when you got a record, it was a special event, and you sat down and you listened to the whole record, and then you flipped it over and listened to the other side. And a lot of times the songs that were your favorite weren't the ones that were on the radio. That record ended, it was over so fast, you know. I put it on, it was over, and you're going, well, that's as much stuff as they could put on one side of a record. And now it's a whole different listening experience. It's one of those things where you would like to make people more aware of what they're missing. And I've done that even with some young writers, but it's hard for them to comprehend what you're trying to tell them, because it's coming from a totally different place from anything they're used to. That's even like when I write songs, I still write them on paper. And so some of the young artists will come over and they'll see them writing on paper, and they're putting it on their phone. And I say, you know, if the Country Music Hall of Fame wants your lyric, what are you going to show them? And it kind of fries their brain. The next time you get with them, some of them are writing on paper, because they've realized, I don't have anything to show if this is a big hit song. You might put a little something over to the side that hits you, that might come in later in the song, or you've erased something, and it's a work of art to me. What we need is somebody in Nashville to do a musical renaissance. That's kind of what we've lost as any visionaries, you know. It's just, everybody's just plodding along. Music Row, which used to be a magical place in itself with 3 streets where there were all kind of recording studios, all kind of publishing companies, record labels. You could be walking down the street and Reba McEntire might be walking down the street to go to a meeting or something, or there's no telling who you would run into. You might run into a song plugger who says, hey, I'm looking for a song for Tim McGraw, or you might run into somebody that's a friend of yours that's a writer and said, hey, you know, they just called me up about Kenny Chesney's looking for songs and I don't have anything for him. If you got anything for him, get it to this kind. It was a very camaraderie, a very open door policy. And in the last 3 or 4 years, real estate is worth more than the history. And so we've torn down so many places and just put up condos on Music Row. So places where Christopherson wrote, they're gone. Places where Dolly and Porter recorded, they're gone. And it took an out-of-towner, the guy from the Black Keys, to come in and go, we need to start saving this. And so finally, 10 years later, the Historical Commission said, well, we need to preserve Music Row, but by then, half of it or more was gone. And so the joke is there's another little place about 4 miles away called Berry Hill, and a lot of the publishers and some of the recording studios have all moved over there because they all got kicked out of where they were. And then the record labels all moved downtown, which doesn't make any sense to me. And so the The energy that was there in that one little area is just totally gone. And Nashville has an energy that no other place has. The cool thing is I feel it here in Tulsa. It's exciting to be back in a place that is moving forward. And I don't feel like Nashville's moving forward. I think it's more known for producing artists, you know, like you said, Reba, Garth, Vince, Ronnie Dunn, all those people. The sad part is they all left here to go there, you know, and you're making it a place where they don't have to do that. That just opens the door to more credence for Oklahoma and the musicians that are here. It's good to see it being revived to what it can be back in the 70s again, but it has to be a place where people are being nurtured and have a place and people that believe in them and what they can do right in their hometown. My late wife was going to school at IU. We lived kind of across the street from John Cougar, and he was just kind of getting started, but a friend of mine was his producer. It was just interesting to see that they made everything happen out of Bloomington, Indiana. People have followed up on it a little bit, but not so much. You know, it didn't become a place, but it shows you that it can happen anywhere if somebody's willing to get in there and go, okay, let's make this happen right where we're at.